And welcome to the HR TailorMade live series, Conversations with Consultants. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Slater, the CEO of HR TailorMade, and we are the HR solution for small businesses. With these conversations, we hope to make it very clear that you don't have to wear all the hats yourselves. There are so many amazing consultants and experts out here that are waiting to help you and to get you out of that place of believing that you have to wear all the hats and that you have to be an expert at everything. You don't. There are people that can help you and will make your life so much easier. And I am super excited to bring my guest today in to talk with me. He is the CEO of Zero to 100, author and networking guru, and my virtual friend, because we have not met in person yet, Mr. Joseph Luckett. And I'm so excited to talk to you, Joseph. Good morning.
Good morning, Tiffany. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I know you have a very busy schedule. So the fact that you made time for me and my audience, I am super stoked about that. So, Joseph, I know that you are a man about town and that you know everybody, but for those individuals who've yet to meet you, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yes, my name is Joseph Luckett, as Tiffany just stated, founder and CEO of Zero to 100, and author of the #1 international best-selling book, Zero to 100, the gold standard of global networking. And essentially what we're doing is teaching people how to network in the most efficient and effective way possible, no matter what route of networking you choose. And when I say route, in quotes, that can mean civically, that can mean religiously, that can mean through a gender-based organization. Whatever route you choose, Zero to 100 can be a tool or a resource to help you not only network, but at the end of it, obtain a measurable result. And I don't mean measurable result in the fashion of dollars. It could also mean in relationships, friendships, so on and so forth. And the book is the first aspect of our model. The second piece of our model will be an entire social media platform and app that's fully patented. And then the third element of our business model will be through events, and the events will be live.
I love it. I love it. So for those people who don't live here, they won't
Uh-huh.
be able to benefit from the live events, right? Unless they fly in town. Or are you going to go all over?
No, they'll be able to benefit. So if a person geographically lives in another state
Mhm.
or another country or culturally speaks a different language, they'll be able to tune into it just like watching Joel Osteen on a Sunday morning from your living room.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will come through your screen in your respected language. And the book over time will roll out into 100 different languages, including Braille. And our site right now is ADA compliant for the deaf, blind, disabled, hard of hearing. We're set up to be very inclusive and very universal for all.
I love that. And I was talking to, I don't remember who I was talking to, but they mentioned that a lot of small businesses don't even think about making their website ADA compliant, basically. So thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that. Well, let me ask you a question, Joseph. So why did you start Zero to 100?
An incident that I had back in either 2010, 2011, where I walked into a room and I was getting ready to sign in, and the individuals that were working the sign in table never spoke to me. And I sat between two individuals who never spoke to me either. Weeks later, I get a phone call and I was told they're not used to having minorities or African Americans a part of the meeting. And so every single time after that, every single room that I walked into didn't look like me. So I was the guy who walked into the library and I asked the librarian, where's the business networking section? She says, there is no business networking section. I was also that same guy who tried to Google data surrounding networking, meaning somebody who has actually measured networking and produced some sort of universal approach that I could read, I could use, I could apply, and apply to any route that I so choose to network through, and again obtain a measurable result. That did not exist from all of the homework that I did, not just here locally in St. Louis. I live in St. Charles, but across America and then across the globe, that just didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I wanted to produce a resource, produce a tool that is essentially available to everybody. And every single time a new book rolls out and a new piece of content rolls out, we will ensure that that content is converted into that new language.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, we will make sure that our resources are available to every culture, every race, every ethnicity, and geographically available in all countries that we're able to get into.
That is awesome, Joseph. And I would have never even considered the fact that there was no literature or books around business networking. That
Let me,
sounds so strange. Okay.
yes. So let me clarify.
Okay.
There are books on networking, but they tend to get into the talk of leadership. They tend to get into the talk of sales. 0 to 100 is specifically focused on the education of the business networker and the networking business model. That is solely what we're focused on. We're not into sales. We're not into leadership. We're not into coaching. What we're into is ensuring that whatever aspect of networking you're in, whether it's an elevator pitch,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is a one-to-one, whether it is interacting in a room full of individuals that all own individual businesses or they are outside sales reps, we want to make sure that you can read this information, utilize this information, where at the end of the day, both parties come out comfortable and non-salesy.
Yeah, that's important to me.
Very
I
much
don't
so.
being salesy and talking to people who are they're just all they're doing is making a sales pitch. That can be overwhelming and annoying.
Mhm.
Sometimes, for me as an introvert, it's more, I want to have more of a real conversation. I want to connect with you, the person, first before I try to even understand what your business is. So I appreciate you saying that. And I know when you do your networking, you are more focused on understanding the person before you. Can you talk a little bit about how you got there?
I've always been that way. You could talk about a person that's 20 years of experience in X, but that actually means nothing. What
Yeah.
means something is the icebreakers that one brings into the conversation, which therefore creates the relationship. So
Mhm.
if I know that you are a Christian, as an example, and I'm a Christian, we
Mhm.
already have that in common. If I know you're a Christian and have 2 kids and I have the exact same thing, we have 2 different things in common. If I know your favorite food is spaghetti and mine is spaghetti, there's 3 different things that we have in common that we can
Mhm.
talk about. And that didn't even involve your business. Just by way of connecting in that respect, as
Mhm.
a byproduct, business will naturally take place.
Yes. I appreciate that a lot. And I agree with you. That's really important. I think a lot of times salespeople miss the mark when, as it relates to connecting with people first, as opposed to telling me all of what you have to offer me without first fully understanding me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's 2 sides to it. One of my quotes is networking is a selfish sport.
Mhm.
Connecting is a team sport. Many network, very few connect.
Yeah.
And so most people are transactional
Mhm.
and they totally leave out the relational piece. And if you could just swap roles and make the relational piece the sole piece, the
Yeah.
transaction will naturally happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will be transactional up front and be winning up front, and they'll win to the halftime of the game, but they're never going to win the game. The tortoise and the hare,
Yes.
it's that same story.
Yeah.
One is fast, the other one is slow, consistent, and steady. The slow, consistent, and steady is the connector.
Yes.
That's the relational. And I often tell people you can't sprint a friendship. You can only marathon
Yes, I agree. Well, Joseph, let me ask this question. So,
it.
what has networking done for you?
Changed my life.
Okay.
It has impacted me in so many different ways. And I'll speak from the relationships that I've been able to grow,
Mhm.
both here locally as well as globally.
Mhm.
It's put me into a position of authority. And I don't like to use the word authority. And I don't like to say what I call the GES: no
Mhm.
guru, no expert, no specialist. I just want to be known as a novice that's constantly in training.
Mm,
It has allowed my book to resonate with different individuals, not
yeah.
just here again locally, but globally.
Mhm.
And it also has allowed me to do something that I would do for free. And I
Yeah.
often tell people, when you're finding your purpose or seeking your purpose, because purpose is the original intent on why something was created.
Mhm.
So I often tell people, what is it that you would do for free that no one would ever have to persuade or convince you to do? And for me, it is the love for the human race.
Mhm.
And networking and connecting are both about the human race, where
Yeah.
you're not chasing a carrot, you're not chasing a dollar, you're chasing the human race and ensuring that you can enrich their lives, make their lives better. Because if you make the networker better, you end up impacting the wife or husband or spouse or partner. You end up impacting the kids, and you
Mhm.
also impact the community that they're involved in. You
Mhm.
end up impacting your region, your nation, the globe, and it all stems from humans.
Yeah. I love that. You shared a story on Facebook a while ago, and you probably have told it before, and it might even be in your book, but um, it was about meeting a gentleman, a white male. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was at a diner or something, and he was uncomfortable because he
Uh-huh.
had never met a black person before,
Mm-hmm.
had never dined with. Okay, can you talk a little bit about that? And let me tell you why I want to, why I think it's important. I think it's important for people to hear how you navigated that, because that could have been challenging for many people. It would have been very challenging for me. So I love for you to share that story, because we can all learn from that.
You know, the cliff notes of the story is me being in a coffee shop and sitting down with a gentleman. Him and I are high fiving. We're laughing. We're chuckling. We both hit it off. You can tell the chemistry. The chemistry that we both have and have had with each other was like we went to school with each other, known each other for a long time. And so we get all the way through the meeting. An individual says to me that, Joseph, I have something to tell you. I said, cool, hit me with it. And he ended up telling me that he doesn't do business with African American people.
Mhm.
And for me, my response to him was, that's totally okay. I still love you. And
Mm,
I remember the individual breaking down, giving me a hug, and crying
yeah,
right on my shoulder. And
yeah,
he never knew that African American people were, one, intellectually sound. He
yeah.
never knew that that all African Americans aren't thugs.
Mhm,
They are all incarcerated. There are
mhm,
African Americans with degrees. He just never knew that. What he knew is what the media and that narrative pitches world to the globe. That's all he knew.
yeah,
And so from that point moving forward, what ended up happening? One, the individual's a good friend of mine. Number
mhm,
two, he is open to meeting African Americans and has been meeting with African Americans. So he's been stretched
yeah,
in that respect. And so just as much of it was a learning instance for him. It was also a learning instance for me because I solely believe I don't have the power to judge anybody, but I
yeah,
do have the power to love you. And
yeah.
so it doesn't matter that he doesn't like black people. It doesn't matter how he feels about black people. The
Mhm.
best thing that we can do is just be an example of
Yes.
what the human race should strive to be like, or more
Yeah.
importantly, take the Gandhi approach,
Yeah.
walk through life in peace.
I, I just love that. When I read that story, I was like, oh my goodness, more, we all need to be like that. And honestly, we're both Christian. The thing is, that is what Jesus would do, or that is what God would want us to do, right? And sometimes we are very I am very challenged by things like that, because it's hurtful to hear that. So I applaud you, and I just really love that you shared that story. So
But
I challenge everybody to be like that. Go ahead.
but Tiffany, what I would also say to you as well, when an individual is acting that way or is that way, we have to remember that they are the picture, we're the frame.
Yeah.
And we also have to remember they consciously have never had anybody tell them anything else but that.
Hmm.
So it's like a person beating their head against the wall and you whisper in their ear, hey, you're beating your head against the wall. We've now made them consciously, adhere to that. We've made them consciously aware to that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what somebody does.
Mm-hmm.
Respond with love. And if you get into your feelings, that is simply a person that's saying, I don't have patience. That means I don't know how to use my mind to construct my addiction to communicate how I feel.
Yeah.
That's all that means. Obviously, could have went a totally different direction, but that's not my belief system, and that's not how I live my life. It's with love. It's with love, and I'll welcome anybody with open arms, no matter how you feel or what side of the coin that you're on. I will always welcome everybody with love.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Joseph, what is the biggest challenge you've seen small business owners struggle with as it relates to networking?
I would say understanding and education of the importance of networking, and then also having the resources in one area versus trying to scour Google and purchasing this book. 0 to 100 has beautifully brought all of that together inside of one book. And we've also tested it scientifically to allow a person to not just be an anomaly, but anybody from whatever background can use the information, follow the information, and connect with anybody. Not just a person that looks just like them, but they can connect with individuals from a cultural perspective as well. Yeah. So I would say some of those are the challenges that small businesses do face. And from this day moving forward, you no longer have to have any of those challenges from a networking perspective. And I can assure you with sound confidence that the book 0 to 100, the gold standard of global networking, will probably be your strongest resource in the space of networking.
I love it. And they can get the book on your website, right?
They sure can.
Okay. All right. And the website is scrolling, of course. And so, Joseph, what is the best advice that you can give to reluctant or introverted networkers?
Simple. In my book, we highlight that as the wing person. And the wing person simply is this. If you are an introvert and you're going to a networking event and the networking event is full of male African Americans and you're a female, then you bring a male extrovert. The wing person has to mirror match the room. Why is that important? Because the extroverted male is naturally going to attract the people he's going to attract. You as the introvert's going to be able to stay within your position and play that role the best that you know how to play it. And as he brings people over, some of those people are naturally going to migrate to you, and they're going to allow you to operate in the most optimal way because you're not being stretched in any sort of way. Yeah. So I would say bring a wing person to any and all events that you do have, and that will allow all parties to win. I would also tell an introverted person as well, if you know you're going to a networking event, look up all of the attendees that are going to be attending and send them all a personal message and try to connect with them prior to the event. So when you go to the event, they're already looking for you and vice versa, and you're comfortable. And that extroverted person out of the bunch of people that you have sent personal messages to, they're naturally going to seek you out. They're naturally going to introduce you to other individuals. Therefore, you stay an introvert, they stay an extrovert, and everybody that comes into both parties wins.
Yeah, I love that. And that is the first time that I've heard that recommendation. And I tell you what, as an introvert, going to networking events before, I would have loved that because I just really so uncomfortable going up to people that you've never met before for me. So I tell you, COVID has been amazing for me in terms of networking. I have a million new friends now.
Of course.
Virtually.
Of course. But I would also add to that too, Tiffany, if you are an introvert, own it. And let people know up front. So if you're speaking on stage in front of people, you start the speech off by telling everybody, hey, my name is Tiffany Slater, and I want to let you all know I'm an introvert. Why do you tell the audience that? Now they have some sort of benchmark, and if you start fumbling over your words, they have endless amounts of grace. And if you're connecting with people, prior to that networking event, you can let them know outside of the connecting, I want to let you know something about me just so I have the greatest experience and you have the greatest experience. And anybody you've introduced me to has the greatest experience. I am an introvert.
Yeah.
You let them know that and own it and be okay with that. Sometimes introverts are the strongest networkers. Why? Because introverts spend more time thinking, processing information.
Yeah.
And when they start talking, they typically come to some sort of conclusion or decision. And it's typically very, very good because they've thought about it for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we like to go deep as opposed to surface. So, well, good. Well, thank you so much. And so, how can people reach you?
You can go to LinkedIn and search Joseph Luckett. You can find me on Facebook under Joseph Luckett. You can go to Instagram, Joseph Luckett, Twitter, Joseph Luckett, Pinterest, Joseph Luckett, Alignable, Joseph Luckett, Reddit, Joseph Luckett.
That's so easy. Well, thank you so much, Joseph. I really appreciate it. You have given us some really good information, and I just love connecting with you. And I can't wait to meet you in person. And we're meeting, I think, in January. So I look forward to meeting you in person. Until I see you again, have a wonderful rest of the day. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Tiffany, and for
Thank
everybody that's
you.
going to listen to the information. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to speak with Joseph Luckett this morning. He is amazing. And even though he doesn't want to be called a guru, I think he's a guru. He's my personal networking guru. That's what I'll call him because that's what I think he is. Does a great job with that. So thank you all for watching. I again am Dr. Tiffany Slater. And I am of HR TailorMade, and we are the HR solution for small businesses. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter and make sure that you connect with me through our website. Until we see you again, be kind to yourself, and thanks so much for watching.